Okay,
All
good to go.
This is Mickey Wilson, M-I-C-K-E-Y.
Correct.
Wilson, W-I-L-S-O-N. And he's a part-time employer who was off work yesterday, off duty, skiing with some buddies, with some friends.
Yeah.
And what happened?
Well, it was totally random chance that I ended up skiing with those particular friends. Two of them were really old ski friends of mine that I've known for about 6 or 7 or 8 years. And the other friend of theirs was kind of more of a friend of theirs, and I hadn't really met him ever. And so there were 4 of us, and they said to meet them at Pallavicini, which is the best chairlift in the world at Arapahoe Basin, at 10:30. So I showed up at 10:21, and they weren't there, and I was like, oh, maybe I'm here early. I'll go up the lift, and I'll ski down the lift line, and if they're here, they'll see me. That's exactly what happened. I was skiing down right under the chairlift, and I heard people yelling my name. And I look up and I go, oh, and they go, okay, meet us at Lenawee, the mid-mountain chairlift. And so then I went down, went back up, met them at Lenawee. Lenawee is a 3-person chairlift, and there were 4 of us. So one of us had to go alone. Our other friend, the one I'm not so familiar with, decided to go ahead by himself so I could catch up with my old friends. So he's up on the chair ahead of us. We're us 3 down behind him. And we get off the chairlift at the top and we don't see our friend. He's not there. And that's what happens when you ski. You should see your friend, and then you all join up and you go. And so we go, where's our friend? And then that's when we heard the first yell. We heard a yell. Not a scary yell, just a yell. Brings our attention back down the hill to this chairlift behind us, and we see our friend ski. Just right at where the chairlift goes up and turns around and goes back downhill. We see one of his skis, not 2, and we go, he must have gotten pulled down the chairlift or something happened. At first, we don't think it's going to be anything serious. I think I'm about to see something funny. I'm about to see a friend hung by his trousers or something. But then we hear another yell, and it's a little more urgent, and so we go in a little bit. I take my skis off fast. I'm kind of realizing this could be bad. And as we go over the hill, the crest, to see our friend, he's hanging. The chairlift, the lift operator had stopped the chairlift at this point, and he was hanging his feet were dangling about 10 feet off the ground. And so what had happened is his backpack strap had gotten caught in the chairlift, and it had drug him around and back down the hill. And then nobody will know, but somehow in trying to escape, he got the backpack strap around his neck. And this guy's a really advanced skier, he knows what he's doing. It was just bad luck in a lot of ways. And by the time we got there, it had been probably a minute since he had maybe been entangled. My best guess, he was already unconscious, had stopped battling to be free. He was hanging lifelessly. And then we start to go up to him, and the enormity of the situation hadn't, hit yet. But then one of my friends started yelling, he's choking, he's choking, he's choking. And I'm not quite there. I'm thinking that he's saying joking, and I'm not quite there. But then he starts screaming, and when you hear one of your friends' voices really get high and scared, that's when everything started to hit. The lift operator had come to help us, so there was 4 of us. We tried to make a human pyramid with the lift operator on top to get to him, but we couldn't get to him, couldn't save it, couldn't get him off or anything. And I asked the lift operator if he can run the lift in reverse, and he says no. And so we're starting to realize that he's dying. He's been unconscious without air for 2-3 minutes now. And people are yelling for ski patrol. Ski patrol's on their way, but it's a big mountain. It takes you a while to get anywhere. I'm realizing that this is a life or death situation. And so I look up at him, I look at where he's stuck, I look at in relation to the tower. I realized that with my slacklining background, because that's my full-time profession, I'm a professional slackliner, I balance for a living, I realized that I can climb that tower and get onto the cable that's that thick that holds all the chairs, and I slid down the cable to his chair. I got to his chair, I climbed down onto it, and I realized I don't have my knife. And I usually ski with a knife. Knives are so helpful in these things, but I didn't have it. Luckily, at that point, ski patrol, a squadron of ski patrol, 8 ski patrolmen had just arrived, and they had brought a ladder with them because they didn't know I was climbing, but instead, one of them had a knife. He tossed it up to me, like the most perfect toss you could imagine, and I'm like hanging off the chairlift. I'd taken this off. This is a prior injury. My hand is like 50% functioning. I catch it with my bad hand because I'm running on adrenaline. I pull out the knife and I cut the strap. He falls like a rag doll 10 feet down into the powder, and ski patrol was right there with all the gear necessary to resuscitate him and get him breathing again. And I collapse in the chair, realizing there's nothing more I can do. And I think literally the first thing I thought to myself, it sounds weird, but I said, thank God I'm a slackliner. And I was able to apply my slackline balance skills to this crazy situation.
Holy cow.
But, you know, and people were calling me a hero, telling me I saved his life, but I didn't know that was the case because they rushed into the ambulance and then to St. Anthony's. We didn't know. I got a FaceTime call from my friends from St. Anthony's last night in the hospital room. He had some stuff on his neck because he'd really hurt his neck and stuff, but he was conscious, smiling, and they thanked me, and I said, you know, thank you guys for everybody worked together to help, you know. I mean, I couldn't have saved him by myself. I couldn't have, you know. I just happened to be the guy that was able to climb the chairlift. And it was powerful. It was a really intense couple of minutes of my life.
St. Anthony's sent out an email a little bit earlier today saying that there was a guy that was brought in from the ski area and he was discharged from the hospital earlier today.
Yes, I didn't know that. I've been skiing powder at A Basin all day today. I had no idea this was becoming a breaking news. So it's, I've been kind of out of touch from everything today, but the powder skiing is really good at A Basin. But I'm so glad to hear that he's discharged, and it's amazing. I mean, it's a really cool story that could have gone so badly, but you know, humans worked together.
What if you hadn't been there?
I'd like to think that the Arapahoe Basin Ski Patrol, which is one of the most capable ski patrol units in the country, would have taken their ladder and gotten up there and gotten him down the same way I did. I know for a fact that I was up there much quicker than they got there, but that's because I was there on site right when it happened. If I hadn't been there, it's hard to speculate, and I don't like to speculate, but I'd like to think that Arapahoe Basin Ski Patrol would have probably done the same thing I did.
I spoke with Mr. Hensroth.
Yep.
He told me, your boss, a little bit earlier today, and he said he broke nearly every safety rule in the book.
People were
what he did was extraordinary, and we're grateful for it.
Yeah, people were screaming at me as I climbed up it not to do it, because they didn't know that I'm a professional slackliner. I do balance for a living, you know. A lot of people were telling me not to do it, but this is the other thing, like, you know, everybody's been telling me I'm a hero and I'm trying to stay humble and not let it go to my head, but my go-to answer to that is, nah, I've just always really wanted to climb a chairlift anyways. I've always wanted to climb up on those cables. It was a cool experience in a really horrible context, but if I hadn't been there, someone else would have stepped up, no doubt.
Good.
My reaction is I'm very thankful that I was able to be there and use the skills that I've learned over many, many years of slacking off, and they led to me saving a guy's life, and that's really cool. Slacklining, in my opinion, is one of the world's best exercises and activities because it teaches you so many things, from balance to patience to humility. Slacklining is an amazing sport. Everyone should get into slacklining. It's one of my life goals is to spread the sport of slacklining to the world. And I think this might help in a weird way. You know, I couldn't have done this without slacklining. Praise the slack life.